It all started with a book. I bought it months before and yet it sat on the shelf unopened and barely even given a second thought. It asks its reader, what if you could harness the extraordinary power of your unconscious mind to change your life? And I found myself saying out loud, would you? I held the book out in front of me as if it was asking a question I'd already asked myself many times. Would I? Could I? There's an interesting thing that happens when you turn 30. It almost feels like your social currency drops a little. You're told it's only downhill from here, habits are harder to form, and that getting fit just gets exponentially harder. Essentially, you feel a little less valuable, or at least that's how I was starting to feel. One day I glanced in the mirror at the white hair snaking through my curls with a look of utter astonishment, as if the idea of aging had been a mere illusion until I was suddenly staring it in the face. And quite frankly, I'd had enough. Enough of the negative self-talk that I wasn't capable of change, that I couldn't create new habits that would make me happier or help me keep my life in order, that it was only me that found forming habits hard, and if I kept failing, then there was simply something wrong with me. I'd also had enough with the constant chatter that aging was a bad thing, so I opened my book and read. Welcome to episode 3 of my series Redefining Myself in My 30s, where I explore new skills, pushing my limits, and regaining my independence. In today's video, I decided to explore this idea of being the main character of my life. I wanted to explore this topic and redefine it for myself. So, grab a cup of tea and let's get into it. Like a typical millennial, when I decided I wanted to embark on this journey of becoming the main character of my own life, I had to Google what that actually meant and entailed. And boy, did this send me down a rabbit hole. I watched video after video that talked about what it means to be the main character and what is main character behavior. And there it was, staring right in front of me. Be unapologetically you. Being so focused on your life you don't pay attention to negativity or other people's opinions about you. You start to romanticize things in life. You know your worth and therefore treat yourself well. And the way you live your life reflects that. You are capable of doing all the things you set your mind to. You have intention behind everything you do. Reading the main character attributes over and over again began to feel like I was having a sit down with myself and giving me the pep talk I didn't know I needed. I learned that to be the main character, you have to challenge yourself. But one thing I learned, which is important to note, is to not mistake being the main character as having to have a perfect life. Very rarely in books or movies do we see main characters who aren't deeply flawed in often multiple ways. Okay, so I'm currently trying some habit stacking. And basically, everything triggers the next thing, which has been surprisingly helpful. I've also been reading this book, Good Habits, Bad Habits by Wendy Wood, and it's very interesting just learning about why we do the things we do, and roughly 43% of the actions that we do every day are just habitual and they're just subconscious. We just do them without realizing that we're doing them. So I'm trying an experiment just for these next 6 weeks to see if I can build these habits so that these things become subconscious. So it all starts the night before. I make sure to get into bed before I'm too tired, and then I'll do my 10 pages of reading, and then I'll go to sleep, hopefully at a reasonable time, so that I can wake up at the same time each morning. Once I get up, I go and do my exercise, maybe a bike ride, maybe my run like today, and then when I come back, I have a shower, get dressed, get ready for the day, and then I start filming. So the trigger is getting up at the right time, or getting up and then getting dressed and immediately going out for my run or my cycle, and then everything kind of like flows from there. I do have a little checklist which I look at every now and again to make sure I remember what I'm supposed to do, because obviously before it becomes habitual you have to decide to do these things. But I've also been experimenting with trying to shut off the internal dialogue I have when I'm questioning whether I want to do something or not, and I'm trying really hard to just exercise, I guess, some kind of control over just when a thought comes up. Should I go up? Should I get up? Should I just have a nap? Should I snooze? Blah blah blah. I just kind of take a breath and try to just allow the thoughts to disappear and then just get my body moving. It's much easier said than done, but honestly I'm finding it to be very powerful. I'm still in the first couple of weeks of trying this, so my motivation is probably higher, so we'll see how this goes once the weeks go on. But as I said, if I do the same things every morning, I'm hoping that within time it just becomes habitual. Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna have a shower. I'm also trying to drink more water, and doing some exercise in the morning helps with that dramatically, especially because it's pretty hot outside. Another trigger, another thing that triggers the next thing in the sequence. I'm gonna do a little stretching and then have my shower because I'm sweaty and disgusting. I've said it before and I'll say it again. For me, fitness, movement, and being active is one of the most fundamental things for my mental health, and for ensuring that I'll always be able to do the things I love, like climbing, hiking, biking, and exploring with a heavy bag on my back. I'd say when I'm at home, I'm consistent. I have my routine, my environment that has been designed, and it's easy for me to simply get to the gym or find time to work out at home. But when there's a slight change, or I'm visiting my friends and family, my whole schedule falls to pieces. So I took a look at some of the main character attributes and decided to focus on this one first. You are capable of doing all the things you set your mind to. And with this in mind, I opened my book and looked for evidence that habits could be changed or new ones built even after years of reinforcing habits that haven't served me well. And I was pleasantly surprised with what I found. One idea that stood out to me was this. When we get rewarded, especially when the reward is unexpected, our neural systems respond with dopamine signaling. This neurochemical helps to establish mental connections between contexts and responses, forming habits in memory. With this in mind, I worked with my coach Heidi on Trainwell, formerly known as Copilot, to create workouts that were fun, short, and combined moves to make them more exciting. The change in name from Copilot to Trainwell came because they wanted to differentiate themselves understandably from the growing number of AI chatbot Copilot services. I think the new name really clearly underscores their commitment to the human-led personal training. It's very much a person-to-person interaction, and I talk to Heidi all the time. We even share videos and photos of the hikes that we've been doing or what we've been up to with our families. Everything from the trainers and the core services will remain unchanged throughout this whole renaming. The workouts being short whilst I was away from home was key, because when I would reach the end of the workout, I would be surprised that it was already over, that I had been actually able to complete a workout when my sense of routine was nowhere to be seen. This reward was unexpected, therefore my brain had begun to establish a connection between working out in a new setting with a positive response, and so the habit began to form. I noticed a similar response when I decided to test my deadlifts at the gym. I've been working on increasing the weight for a while, but I never got too close to failure. So I thought, why not try a 1 rep max, and honestly, I was so shocked that I was able to lift 100 kilos. Again, this reward was completely unexpected and gave me such a sense of achievement I couldn't wait to get back to the gym. And so, the habit began to form. Consistency is so important for me because when I don't work out or move my body, my mental health truly suffers the most. I find it harder to focus, harder to sleep, and my sense of achievement is dampened quite considerably. But the good thing about habits is that they can be relied upon even during times of intense stress. In Good Habits, Bad Habits, Wendy Wood writes, "Imagine you've established exactly the kind of healthful habit that carries on the necessary work of keeping your life together as you deal with the complexity of your source of stress. It's exactly this kind of hard work that your second self can quietly do. That work can be done even when the more conscious reaches of your mind are under stress." Reading this paragraph gave me a better understanding of how habits can help keep us on track despite our lives getting busier or stress from outside sources creeping in. So I've been working hard, working on talking kindly to myself and quietly putting my workout on and just simply getting it done. Checking in with Heidi to adjust things or simply to get some words of support and encouragement. Because I've been working with Heidi for over a year now, she knows when I'm finding it hard to complete workouts and make adjustments for me. But I'm finally having a breakthrough, and my capacity to deal with stress and the inevitable things life throws at you when we get older is getting slightly easier. And again, being a typical millennial, this is why I've started running again and building up my endurance. For me, it's like a morning meditation and a way to start the day on a positive note. It helps me to think things over and clear my mind, to come up with ideas and to process difficult thoughts and feelings I've been having. I always start slow when I come back to running because I'm very injury prone. I do sets of running with walking in between, and slowly I've gone from 6-minute sets up to 12-minute sets. That slow but consistent routine has formed a habit that makes me feel my best and keeps my mind healthy. I will often repeat to myself when I'm having a tough day, you are capable of all the things you set your mind to. And for once, it's beginning to work. If you've been looking for a little help to get started with moving your body or fitness, or you've just been doing the same thing for a few years now and you're looking for a more supportive way of working out, Trainwell is a great place to start because you can get a 14-day free trial with your own personal trainer and $25 off your first month. There's a reason why I've stuck with Heidi for so long and with Trainwell. The app makes it so easy to work out with everything having been thought out and structured for you. and all your milestones documented so you can see yourself improving. The best part for me is that I don't have to do any additional thinking. I can turn up, press start, and simply follow the process. A free trial is a great way to see if this is for you. Good morning. We are heading into, I think, week 3 of me trying to build new routines just to, get my life back on track. Let's put it that way. This morning I really do not feel like going for a run, but it's Monday morning, and on Monday mornings we go for a run. I think today will be important because it's the first day where I'm feeling a kind of resistance to wanting to go. Even though I've been using my good habits book to try to not think about it and try and make it seem like it's already a habit, which is just something where you get up in the morning after you have your coffee is when you finish your coffee, that's your cue to get dressed to go for your run, and then putting on this my cue to fill up my water bottle, which is also really helping for me to get more water in. I'm trying to create more contextual cues in my surroundings and my environment to help me with the things like drinking more water, because as I've said in many videos, I am chronically dehydrated and that's not good for any of us. But for me, it's really important to try and build these routines and these habits whilst I am in a place where my routine is the same, where I get up, I do these things, and I have work till a certain time, then I do this, X, Y, and Z. I no longer have that kind of excited motivation of trying something new. And that has always been my downfall in the past. I'll do something for several weeks or several months, and then something will knock me off my schedule or knock me off my routine, and then I just won't find my way back for quite a while. And the reason why I'm doing this whole thing, which I've probably said a million times in this video, is that having a set routine that is very rigid really helps my mental health, and it helps to keep me just chugging along and my whole world not become really chaotic. I realized recently that a lot of the talk of, be kind to yourself if you fall off this and that kind of stuff, I think is very powerful for a lot of people. It just is not relevant for me. I have to be quite strict with myself in terms of my routines, otherwise I don't take care of myself properly. I don't feed myself the best food, I stop exercising, and then that impacts my mental health, and then that impacts my physical health, and then everything else kind of becomes very inconsistent. If you've watched me for a while, you'll probably notice that many years ago I would upload 2 YouTube videos every single week without fail. I'd upload to Instagram 5 times a week. I would go to the gym at the same time every single, 4 or 5 times a week. I would do the same things and I'd be very regimented. And that's because I was in the same place. I had very strong structure to my life, whereas I don't now. And we're going to try and build that structure back in for a happy, healthy life. So yeah, we're trying to change this life in 6 weeks to get started. The rest of our lives is the real journey. Anyway, I'm procrastinating, so I'm going to fill out my water bottle and go for my morning run. The next thing I wanted to take a look at was the idea of romanticizing the things in life. Obviously, I have no idea what this means, and whether or not it's a little pretentious or it actually works, or to be honest, both. I see this all over social media and I'm truly at a loss. Let's go back to the drawing board and figure out what this means and how we can apply it to our lives if it makes sense to do so. That's next time in episode 4 of this series. So be sure to subscribe to continue on this journey with me, and if you liked it, please give it a like, as it really supports my channel. And don't forget, if you're looking for some help to get started or to change up your fitness routine, remember you can get a 14-day free trial with Trainwell and $25 off your first month. As I mentioned before, there's a reason why I've been doing it for so many years now, and I have no intention of stopping. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I cannot wait to see you in the next video. Okay.